Sarah Carlson is a statewide advocate for arts, culture, and heritage tourism. Her career includes 15 years of nonprofit development, major fundraising, marketing, design, and roles in public community leadership. She is passionate about interpretation, storytelling, and branding. Sarah is the Arts Program Coordinator with the South Dakota Arts Council, a division of the South Dakota Department of Tourism. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning from Pierre.
Yeah. Well,
my office in Pierre at the South Dakota Arts Council. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, it's good to get a little bit of Pierre this morning.
Yeah.
I love
It
Pierre.
was a gorgeous sunrise. I don't usually get up that early, but this morning I did. Not of my choice, but it was a painting, so we've got the right topic this morning.
Yeah, boy, I kind of miss the sunrises East River.
Oh, I missed living the Black Hills. I always missed the sunsets because, it's a beautiful silhouette of black evergreen trees, but you never got to see that prairie sunset, that takes so long. It just seemed like it
takes
took
hours.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, hey, so anyway, I guess we're gonna, find out what's going on with the South Dakota Arts Council and a little bit about maybe how you got involved in the arts today. And
Sure.
I know you've been involved in the arts for, a large part of your career. You were previously at the Lead Opera House. Are the arts something you've always been interested in?
Sure. Yes. I always talk about being a farm kid. We're South Dakotans, so
yeah.
You come from a place where you live out in the country, and going into town is kind of a big deal when you're like a fourth grader.
I remember that.
Your mom works at home. My mom was a hairdresser, and my dad traveled. And so we really were told, put your jacket on and get outside. Go play in the barn. So, I was the oldest, had two younger siblings, and we went and made our own fun. And I think that is part of what I'm seeing with some of the young people in my life today is there's not enough, get your jacket on and get outside and play and imagine and create. And it's fun to be able to contribute in that way, knowing where it's gotten me today to sit in this chair. So we have all kinds of programs that have to do with arts and youth and imagination. And I'm glad that I had the chance to do that as a farm kid. There was plenty of room to be creative.
Yeah, in the interest of full disclosure, I should probably mention that we are two members of the Wakanda Art Mafia, right?
Wakanda forever.
A very influential, art movement in the state.
Yeah,
maybe
Wakanda, South Dakota.
But I don't know. I think about that too, running around in the Grove and kind of using the old outbuildings and the old machinery and everything. All the junk is kind of a set piece for all the crazy, stories you could come up with.
You said it. It was
good times.
It's a delight to hear you say that, because I haven't really thought about that for a long time, because we had a grove or the forest. We'd call it the forest.
Yeah.
And we did have that old machinery, some pieces and parts from an old tractor from a long time ago. We pretend, you'd sit on that and pretend. So I'd like to think maybe that's where my theater background started.
Yeah, and your mom and dad's place was right over the bluff, so it was a really cool acreage, I always thought.
Paul, I don't know if you ever had the chance, but frequently growing up, our barn, we had a big barn. For those of you who have no idea about Wakanda and where I'm from, and where Paul's from, but we had that big, huge Century Farm barn, 125-year-old barn. And if you were lucky enough to come over to get your hair cut, we might show you while your parents are getting their hair cut. We'd run up the side of the barn, climb, and you could get to the top of the roof. I just think of the insurance waivers that were not signed.
Oh, man.
But if you were sitting with us at the top, we would tell you, now look over there, you can see the Dakota Dome roof in Vermilion. So it was kind of like we were doing our own little hospitality and tourism business right there.
That might have been, I might have been too old for that. I might have missed out. I think that was, I got my hair cut there plenty of times, good times, great memories. Anyway, well, that's funny. I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes I think growing up I don't know, but did you have art classes?
We did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'd have just a slight memory. There was an artist in residence when I was in 5th and 6th grade, and her name was Mrs. Amy Ott. And I've looked back, and I cannot recall her first name. So those of you who are listening who can remember what her first name was, but I remember her specifically. I just knew as a kid that I got to go draw for an hour, once or twice or 3 times a week. So I felt fortunate that I wasn't sitting there doing math, or or whatever. But yeah, it was great.
Okay, I just remember a lot of my teachers really being annoyed that I was drawing all the time, but I'm glad that not all of them. No, Mrs. Babb was really cool. She was probably retired by the time you were in high school, but
Dolores.
What's that? Yeah,
Dolores Babb.
Okay. But or wait, I guess I don't know her first name. She was the English teacher. I think it's
I can't wait to see the comments after this video that people.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "What?" I could cut this out. I don't know. I think it's good. Wakanda.
Well, when you're talking about growing up in a small farming community, and what arts classes you may or may not have been open to or had the opportunity, what was your experience, Paul? How did you get to where you are? In a different. You're a little older than me, so we went to the same school, but we had different people in our lives that were leading.
I'm asking the questions here. No, I don't. Sorry. No, that's okay. How did I? Well, I just drew compulsively as a kid. I just found, mom and dad have passed away in the last few years, and I got, my boxes of junk that were in the attic and in my room. And I literally filled up sketch pad, notebook, typing paper, steno pads. Really my experience was where people were constantly, like my teachers, a lot of my teachers were really bothered by the fact that I was drawing all the time. And, it bothered my mom. It was just like, I was just checked out,
You were in your own world.
I was
doing your thing.
I was gone. And I didn't realize, that's kind of how I remember it, but you never know how you remember. How your memory matches up with reality. But after finding this pile of, and a lot of it was from when I was, it's like 8, 9, 10, 11. So I don't know. I just couldn't help myself. And then we used to go to Kansas City a lot to see cousins. And I remember going to the Harry Truman Presidential Museum and seeing the Benton murals there. And just being like, wow, that's crazy. That guy's painting on walls. What's up with that? And then, going to the Nelson Atkins and stuff like that.
So you were inspired then to go and do your own.
Yeah. And then I just kept doing stuff because I figured if these people are telling me to quit doing it, I don't know. They're crazy because look at this. There's like this big building in Kansas City full of this stuff. So I think I'll just keep doing it.
Well, good. We're benefiting if you keep going.
Yeah, I'll try. I don't know. Anyway, I hate talking about myself. But thanks.
Oh yeah.
How would well, oh man. Now I just want to talk to you about what my experiences in Wakanda. Because I think we
never get to. We never
Ah,
get to talk about Wakanda,
I'm
and
going
here
to
you
have
have
to
a
cut this part
platform.
out. This part I'll probably have to cut out. But like, man, when I was there, it was pretty rough. I don't know if like it changed, but like the only visiting, I think we had one visiting artist that I remember, right? And he was this like singer, songwriter, folk musician type guy. And he set up in the new gym, right? And he
Okay.
was playing like Jim Croce type stuff, James Taylor, probably doing his own. This, I think about this all the time because, out in the hills, there's all sorts of guys doing this kind of thing, and I do this kind of thing. I set up and play acoustic guitar and sing, and sometimes I'll sing my own songs. But, so like, it was probably 1980. And I mean, like, this is the first time I'd ever seen anything like this. So it seemed kind of weird to me, but cool. I liked it. It was interesting, but like some of the older kids were like getting kind of rowdy. And anyway, somebody got the idea that they should tip them. And so they started like throwing change at
Oh no.
and then pretty soon they were like whipping. So I
Oh,
think that's maybe why we didn't have any visiting artists. Should I cut that out? I can cut
oh
that
my
out of
God.
this.
I don't know, Paul. I don't know what side of the tracks you grew up, but I don't know that that was part of what we did.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I was like probably in, fifth grade or something. So, I mean, the kids they were, much older, but I mean, this interview has gone off the rails. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It's just good to talk to you. And it is really, it just makes me smile to think of the new gym, like the new gym.
Yeah.
And, when you're talking about traveling and performing arts, the touring arts, that's what I do here at the Arts Council.
Right.
That I manage the touring arts program. And I also remember when I was growing up and we had the chance to go to hear the symphony orchestra for the
Mm.
first time as I don't know if it was fifth grade, and we all piled into a bus or two and drove to Sioux Falls, and it was in the Orpheum in downtown Sioux
Oh,
Falls.
yeah, we
And
did that.
I've shared this
Okay.
before because uh, it was, it's one of those times, just like you were talking about when you go into a museum and you're inspired by something on a wall and you're like, wow, that this is an artist that's doing this thing, and you remember that for the rest of your life. And I know I've talked a little bit about online about my experience as a fourth or fifth grader, and I only remember getting on the bus. I remember where we sat, and I remember that the director, excuse me, told us to close our eyes, and a story would unfold through music. And he told the story first, and then he said, now close your eyes, and then they played the music, and so you could envision the story he had just told you through music. And I thought, what a wonderful, like, hands-on experience for a young person to really understand uh, the creativity behind the music. And it was WC's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun with the flute solo. Well, I
Mm.
ended up playing the flute. I'm not a professional flute player. I don't even have a flute anymore. So that's like on my bucket list. But I'll always remember that. And every time the South Dakota Symphony Orchestra performs or has the opportunity to perform in a community, I always go back in my mind to think of that day. And I hope that there are other kids who get that same experience like I did.
Oh, yeah. I think that the touring arts program is really, really important in a state like South Dakota. In that, I think we made a trip to the Orpheum to see the importance of being earnest,
Oh,
and it was put on by a Minneapolis company, and I think the Guthrie Theater maybe.
oh
But yeah,
my.
that was a kind of a big deal for me too. And I know what you mean. Like on trips like that, for some reason, I remember eating at McDonald's, and after it was all over, and yeah, it's kind of I think it influences a lot of people. Um, so like, I mean, you've been a arts manager. Do you make art? I mean, you play the flute. I mean, do you have this isn't on my list. I don't know, but I'm always curious about that because it seems like managing, like I don't think you'd want me managing a state arts organization. I mean, making art, yeah, I can do that. But I mean, it almost seems like there's two different sides of the brain happening. You got the art side, you got the management side, and it's got to all come together in a job like this. Do you find that to be true, or
Oh yeah,
in a way like maybe other managerial positions would not be true?
I think in a spot like this where you are managing an arts program, I think it's beneficial to have experience on the organizational side, the venue side, the nonprofit side, or the school admin side, and then also on the performing artist side. For my role, the performing arts, because you have to be able to. You are the fulcrum point for the communication
Right.
and the contracts that come through, and gosh, the marketing and the the word outreach is overused, but like the collaboration, having a different hat on, it's kind of like a dual hat. You have to see it from both sides, and I think that, gosh, the whole point of what we do here is about South Dakotans in their communities benefiting communities, but it's so important that our extended arm is the artist. And so we want to help the artists be artists, but we want to help them also in the end change those communities, like those 5th grade kids who go to the Orpheum Theater for the first time and hear a flute or see someone playing an instrument for the first time. That's really all what it's about. So when you're talking about which hat and things like that, and the admin side of things, I'd also like to add that I don't know how everyone else is, but my background is design, so graphic design, visual arts, the creative industry, and there's a time for that. Oftentimes, a lot of my friends might know me to stay up till the wee hours of the morning. That's my creative time, or the early morning hours to do design work, because it's just like grant writing too. I'm a grant writer, so you have to be in your zone, just like you were sketching during math class or what have you. I mean, I was that kid too. It's like spelling. We're having a spelling quiz, and I would have no problem with spelling, so I'd write my word out, and then while everyone else is, doing their thing, I'm over here drawing cartoons of the word that we had just written or something like that. So I hear you there. But I think it's important to be able to see both sides of the fence and represent both the organization and the artist.
Yeah. So you've been in Pierre about 6 months now. Is that right?
A year.
Or a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes fast.
So you got there just in time to kind of deal with the whole, the COVID thing. I mean, what were some of the challenge? I mean, man, coming into a new job, kind of a big deal, but then dealing with the pandemic on top of that must have been kind of difficult, maybe. What were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
I think I've been really fortunate it seems like so many of the jobs that I've held, that I've come in on the tail end of something or a transition point. And, when you first start and you're working with a new team of people, I remember coming on and, you're jumping right into the hurricane, and your skill set, but you don't know where they need you. And having seen the team here at the South Dakota Arts Council and the way that they would communicate and work with each other and their constituents and the people they serve during a really, really stressful time, I thought, if it's that good during such a stressful time, it's got to be fantastic when it's easy time.
Yeah.
And that spoke so highly of this group of people, that they really care and they were working their butts off trying to, there's only the funds that come to this is a state agency. We have federal funds, we have state funds, and together we spread them out throughout the state. And there's certain things you can do with that money and things you can't. So that's why we do work with one of our grantees who is Arts South Dakota, because they can do things for individual artists that maybe we can't. So we were really looking at how we can craft ways to get the money to the artist, staying within the lines that we could during the pandemic. One of the things that came from it is, there's a lot of negative, and we know all the negative. So many of us we've all been touched by the negative of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But on the outset, all of the things, it's called forced creativity, if you will, but finding new ways to do things. Artists going online, finding out how the heck am I going to have do my visual art program online. I think one of the things that have come out of it for me was the realization how important that live audience is to the energy on a faux stage, and how much energy you have to conjure up as a performing artist to get to the people online. And it's just such a give and take. And hearing that experience coming from the performing artist saying, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And trying to give them resources and, and some of them couldn't. And so some of those artists were not able to tour this past year, and others were. And it all depends on what exactly their craft was, what kind of performing arts they were doing or teaching. But it really opened up the mind of a lot of the artists in collaboration with others. For instance, some of the performing artists were able to go back and get access to work that they had done in years prior and set it to like a slideshow with a visual artist. They worked together to make their program a dual program. I mean, the creativity that came out of having to do something, I think that will continue on the future from all of the artists that we've been speaking to. It's a component of their program. So that is one of the fortunate things that have come out of COVID-19 era.
So, is it possible that maybe there'll be greater availability to these programs? To school districts and classrooms?
I agree. You still need that in person. You really need that in person, but as a component, yeah.
Well, but maybe there may have been schools that because of scheduling or something would not have been able to partake in the program. And so now that maybe more is online, it's possible that they won't have a visiting artist in residence, but maybe, an artist online that they can go to, perhaps. I don't know.
I think, yes, I agree with you.
That might be a possibility.
It is. And the thing to think about though too is to make sure that people who are watching this and who agree, like, wow, it's fantastic to be able to have that one-on-one, and the artist doesn't have to be there. But also internet availability. So when you're thinking about the things that are needed to host a program online, sometimes it's the artist being able to convey the same energy level. Because even right now, the energy level has to be there and engaging, and then also the skill set and also the tools. So even if the artist is all set to go, they don't have internet in our community for them to go online. And so, wow, talk about a lot of things were realized.
So we're learning that maybe the infrastructure isn't there. Wow. Yes. I guess I don't even think about it anymore, but. Right.
The other thing too is the tools that you have as, oh my goodness, you have a level of, and I'm just going to speak to the performing arts just because that is the program that I have had through the pandemic, is you have an expectation level of sound quality, and that is really difficult when you're working with someone who's had this fantastic level of sound quality in person. And then, I mean, it's difficult. You can't recreate that in an online experience, with a computer speaker or a microphone that is not,
Yeah.
an actual, like a lot of expensive equipment is needed sometimes to keep that going. So,
Well, and then, with the lag. Oh,
1
whoops.
minute. Can you hear the vacuum now that has just started?
Yeah, a little bit. It's done.
No.
Oh,
I've got
there
a
it is.
sign. I've got a sign up on my door, but this might take a little time. He just vacuuming the carpet rug out front. He'll be. Can you hear it now?
Actually, right now I don't hear it at all.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, well, I know even with music lessons, I do quite a few guitar lessons, and I moved everything online last summer, but it was difficult, with the time lag. You can't play with the student, I mean, you can show them things, you can listen to them, but that kind of, I mean, part of the fun is jamming, right? And it just doesn't
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
But so, okay. Well, one of the questions I had for you is, will all art go online? But I guess that's not going to happen.
I don't think that all art will go online. I think that artists will be working with organizations that now know that they have to have an online component to their programs because they have reached a wider audience than a lot of them ever thought. No longer do they only reach to the people who are within physical driving distance for their program, but they're working with ticket purchasers who are buying tickets online and seeing something online from other states.
Have you heard about? Yeah.
He's coming back through.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
I wanted to stop us while we had a good end. He's
Yeah,
right here.
that'll make for an easy edit. Thanks.
Good.
Is he still going?
Yep. And it's a small hallway, but it's the main hallway for all employees. So he really hits it every morning, every other morning or so.
Which building are you guys in?
The Dolly Reed Plaza, which is right by Capitol Lake.
Oh, okay. So it's the same. I think it's been there for quite a while, a number of years, right? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I had an art show or something in the lobby there about 10 years ago.
Oh, really? In the lobby?
Yeah, they used to do art shows. I mean, I think I brought 4 paintings.
Yeah.
But it was still 4 paintings.
In the lobby.
Yeah.
I
If
think
it's the
that's
same building.
awesome. Okay. Well, it's been around. And we're done with the vacuuming here at the Dolly Reed Plaza.
So have you heard of these NFTs?
I'm not sure.
Non-fungible tokens? They're it's artwork that's connected to the blockchain.
Yes, I know nothing.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not sure. The imagery on online, and I don't know how it works. If you know how it works and you can explain it, I would love to know more.
Right now?
Sure.
Well, you know what cryptocurrency is, right?
Yes.
So when you buy cryptocurrency, what you're buying is a little hunk of this blockchain, which is a blockchain being like some kind of encoding that it's the same kind of encoding that you would use to hide passwords and things like that. Okay. And so anyway, somehow the artwork is like a digital piece of artwork is tied to a blockchain, linked with like one of the cryptocurrencies, and people are buying this type of thing online now.
Is it a way to this is just a question, is it a way to purchase a photo and then no one else will be able to purchase that photo for use unless?
Well, no, not exactly, because since it's digital, it can exist, wherever. But your particular photo that's connected to the blockchain. So it'd be like, maybe you could think of it as an artist's proof, I think, or something. Possibly.
Then
But
royalties? Is it like every
well,
time it's used, you get royalties? Is that?
that's
Oh,
part of it. Yeah. So every time, so the artist sells the NFT, an art lover buys it, art lover sells it, the artist still gets a take from the sale,
easy.
which sounds kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's some downsides too. It's really expensive to get an NFT minted. So I don't know if it's something that's, unless you're really established in the capital A art world, I don't know if it's something a guy would get into. But whenever I start thinking about, I don't know, I was reading about it and, talking about art going online. It just seems like there is a kind of this move to put everything, on your phone, put all of life on the computer, which kind of drives me crazy. But, so, hey, speaking of, online, is the State of Create hashtag still a thing? I know that was, and is that with the South Dakota Arts Council?
It's with the Department of Tourism,
Okay.
and 2000 going into 2020, state of create,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean the South Dakota Arts Council is underneath the Department of Tourism. We are a part of the Department of Tourism,
Okay.
and when we recognize the importance of creativity in the lives of all South Dakotans, and so being creative and also storytelling and interpretation and cultural heritage tourism, the arts and tourism so much go together. And what I think is neat is when you think about all creators, whether it's visual art, performing arts, wow, the list is long. And
Mm-hmm.
you think about our partnership with all of these communities and our partnership with tourism, and our partnership with Art South Dakota in advocacy and service and collaboration across the state. That's the best way I can describe State of Create. Yes, it's still a thing, and we still like to tag our photos and our stories and our posts on social media with that. It is tied to tourism. Whether you are creating your own adventure in South Dakota, you're creating your own story, you're creating your own artwork. It's important to remind people that this is a state that embraces creativity.
Okay. I just started an Instagram account a couple of weeks ago. So
Yay!
I'm using it.
Okay.
I'm running into a couple of other people that are using it too, but
Oh, great.
I think it's pretty cool. So if anybody's watching, I'll put it in the description too. Remind everybody to use State of Create.
Well, if you ask if it's still a thing, I think it is up to us to make it a thing, Paul.
Right. And it's
Yeah,
just a hash. I mean, it's easy. Just type
just
it
ahead.
in.
Yep.
Okay. Well, hey, one more question and then, yeah, thanks. This has been great. Because of the pandemic has changed our, like, kind of the way we look at a lot of things and maybe how we value different things in our lives. But like with art, do you think, we see it now, or do you think it is more or less important? I mean, having gone through this, this world pandemic, is it kind of just this frivolous thing that we shouldn't worry about anymore? Or,
You are an artist, correct?
yeah, but I probably should have been like a biochemist
Oh,
or something. I don't know.
I can, if you were a biochemist, I could see this being a really interesting conversation because there's a lot of creativity in that as well. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I'm not I'm not in that industry, but
Okay.
the arts, I think more than ever, have been brought to the forefront of even our mental health.
Mm,
Reminding us of our struggles and reminding us that we can change. Um, Reminding us that in the end you'll be okay. Um, Sometimes things can't be said with words, that they can be said visually. Um, some of the artwork that's come out of the struggle of some artists, whether it's music or visual, we got a chance to see that online, maybe from artists we've never heard of before. So there's that outreach, that online component, and um, the arts provide meaning to our lives, and they will continue. And like I said, more than ever. I don't know if this is helpful, but uh, you see people who are struggling. They're struggling through whatever that is, whether it's financial, spiritual, emotional, on and on and on. And families who haven't gotten to see each other, families who have witnessed other families going through. Everyone's gathering together to do what they can for each other. And some people are storytellers, and we count on them to help us understand, what some people are going through. And there's a billion quotes out there that kind of wrap it up. Not that I can think of any of them right now, but more than ever, the arts are needed. And we're starting to see also, with all of the federal funds that have come through, seeing stages close down, venues close down, programs close down. And these kids, I go to the kids, adults too,
right.
students of all ages, who are looking to vent their frustrations, who are looking to make sense of it all, can do that through art. And I think, if anything, people have found that in some of their open time in 2020, they may have gone back to maybe picking up things that they haven't ever done. I'm just speaking from a personal level,
The flute in your case.
the flute,
Yeah.
right? But they're going back to looking at their personal, what's important in their lives, what is beneficial to them mentally, and supports them. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a long answer that I wasn't prepared to answer,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
that was my gotcha question.
yeah, it's
What? Yeah, I think the arts
more
is all
important than ever.
really about communication and connection. And so in a time when we're, in this last year where maybe we've gotten used to hunkering down and staying at home. Um, yeah, it seems to me like it's as important as ever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, so hey, thanks again for hanging out. Is there any like big issue we may have missed? I don't want to. Man, seems like we did okay.
We did really well. Let me pull this up quick. Um,
We don't have to cover all the bullet points either.
I think you had some fantastic questions, though. Uh,
Well, we can do part two.
what are some of the big changes you've noticed in the last 10 years? Oh, you know, from where I'm sitting in this chair here at the South Dakota Arts Council,
Yeah.
I know one of the most exciting things to think about during, we've gone through the pandemic, but it's given us a chance to look at how these programs are or may not be serving our communities.
Mm,
It is a time for change. You know, it's kind of like you've gotten a chance to step back and say, "Oh my gosh, we have an opportunity here," and we've been able to add different things to programs. That's the best way I can explain it. But we've been able to add things to the way that we do our offer our programs that may be a little more efficient, a little more clear for organizations to be involved and artists to be involved. That will continue. And we're going through our strategic planning right now. And the cool thing about that is that this year we have brought in artists to actually go out to the communities to lead the discussions in the communities about what they think arts in South Dakota should look like and feel like, and so they're crafting that right now. So here we have a team of artists throughout the state who are gathering information in a focus group type of way, and then coming back to the table and having it all discussed by the people who are using the programs and the people who are giving the programs. And that is so important right now. And it's kind of neat how the pandemic, which we weren't planning, coincided a little bit with the strategic planning, because it kind of gave you a time of okay, where's our baseline and how are we serving, and are we serving in the best way we can? So I'm really looking forward to hearing about what those artists have found in the communities and the ways that we can change in the next 2 to 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, that is exciting. Okay.
That's
So there's some good will come out of 2020.
Yes.
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 Okay. Great.
For sure.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot for taking time out of your schedule to visit.
You're welcome, Paul. And my goodness, if you end up coming to Pierre, don't miss the Art for State Buildings, which is that's something that's exciting that we just kind of ended here. We're going to be relocating pieces, but there's like 100 pieces of art since 2008 from the program, and they're all in art. They're all in state buildings here in Pierre. So it's like its own art gallery in a whole bunch of different buildings. And so for those people who are listening and watching, that's something that we'll be putting on social media probably in a couple weeks.
And as an artist that has a painting as part of this collection, it's been really fun over the years to have people send me, JPEGs of like my painting hanging in different places. We're in Pierre and we saw your painting.
Oh, that's great.
So that's been kind of fun. All right. Well, okay. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Oh, thanks a lot, Paul. Bye.
Okay, bye.